Hello, mic test. Hello, hello. Hello, mic test. Hello, hello. I guess my Facebook Live is now working. In a minute we would start. Anyway, if it's just two of us, you can just simply open your mic and ask questions, and I'll try to answer as much as I could. As usual, to everyone who's watching us on Facebook and on YouTube, I will be discussing our market review for this week, and I'll discuss all the 28 pairs from AUD CAD to USD JPY. In a few minutes, we would start. So let's start our webinar now, and as usual, I'll discuss all the pairs from AUD CAD to USD JPY, and I hope you guys managed to take some good trades this week, and I hope you, to everyone who's using my MACD CSM, you would share your trades too on the group. And I'm sorry if I didn't manage to have our usual webinar last week. I'm a bit busy coding some stuff for my own, and that's why this week we would have our webinar, and we'll try to have more webinars on coming weeks. So at first, we would discuss that AUD CAD, the AUD CAD pair. So for now, this is how we see it. The H1, H4, and D1 all have buy signals. So at first, you will plot the Fibonacci retracement. Actually, if you would see, the buy signal on H1 is around February 11. This was Thursday. So if you saw the signal here, you would just simply plot the AUD CAD Fibonacci from the resistance and to the support. So it doesn't mean that it's not the conventional Fibonacci we always use, because the conventional Fibonacci is like the support and the resistance from yesterday, but the Fibonacci I always use is like the support and the resistance for like 2 or 3 days ago, since we are only using H1. So if you would enter a buy here, you would see that the buy signal is around this point. I'll plot it and put a line here. And if you would see, it's above 50% or above 50 and 61.8. So we won't enter the trade at this point. We won't enter the trade at 0.98276. We need to make at least a buy limit at this point at the 50 Fibonacci, or at 38.2 Fibonacci. You can guys choose between the two, the 38.2 or the 50. If you want to be more conservative and take more pips, you can enter around 38.2. And if you think the 38.2 line won't be hit, you can already enter at 50, and it's already a good trade for me, the 50 Fibonacci. And your TP would just be simply the 100 Fibonacci, which is around 31.3 pips. So that's how we enter the AUD CAD pair. But as you can see, 23.6 was hit, but I don't actually use 23.6 because most of the time this 23.6 Fibonacci won't be hit. It's just usually the 38.2 and the 50 Fibonacci. So next we will go to AUD CHF. I already plot the Fibonacci level for this one. So this is the resistance and this is the support. And as you can see, when the buy signal came out at H1, it's here. It's already at 38.2, and it's actually a good one because as you can see, the closing candle for the H1 signal is below 38.2, which is really a good trade. So you would enter your trade at this point at 0.68909. And if you enter the GBP AUD CHF, you would be positive 30 pips today. This was a trade yesterday. I mean, this was a trade last Thursday. So it's 30 pips floating because our TP would be here. So the overall target take profit for this is 44.3 pips. So anyway, as usual, guys, if you have any question, just you can simply open your mic since it's just three of us right now, or you can just chat me here if you have any questions, especially to the users and some people who want to use my MACD CSM. The next one is the Aud Jpy. As we can see, all three time frames are positive too, from H1, H4, and D1. So we would just simply plot the Fibonacci at this point. This was February 8 and 9, which is Monday and Tuesday. The support and the resistance, and the signal came. This is Monday. This is Tuesday. It came out at Wednesday. So as you can see, the closing candle for this H1 time frame is here, which is above 50. But since we are a bit conservative, we could wait for the 50. At least the pair would go down a little bit by a few points or a few pips, or we would just wait for the 38.2 Fibonacci. You can just simply have a buy limit here or a buy limit here at 80.918 or 80.855. Then our TP would be the 100 Fibonacci again, as usual, which is 81.19. If you can see, everyone, I'm using the H1 time frame because we based our trades and we enter our trades, which is usually good at H1 time frame. But there are times that the trade would come from H4. As you can see, there is a signal here. Sometimes the signal would come from H4 or the signal would come from H1. But the most efficient way to use it is an entry from an H1, a cross. It's a cross of the MACD CSM from H1. What I'm referring about the cross is the cross of these two lines that you would see. Next one is AUD NZD. As you can see, the D1 time frame on AUD NZD is a buy. Is a buy. No, is a sell. It was sell like a few days ago, but next week this would be a buy already. So this would be on Monday. The signal would be buy on AUD NZD already, and we could look for AUD NZD buy signal soon, because for this whole week, since Monday, Tuesday, Thursday until Friday, it's a sell. That's why we can't enter a trade at AUD NZD, because there's a sell on D1, H4 is buy, and H1 is buy. The three time frames should have the same signals before we enter a trade. The next one is AUD NZD. AUD USD, I mean. I have to delete this one. Join where? One moment, guys. There's some people asking me about the webinar. I'll just give them the details. So next one is we would be at CAD CHF. The CAD CHF on H1 is no. The signal on CAD CHF is not actually that good because as you can see, H1 is buy, but H4 is a sell, and D1 is a buy. And this doesn't fit our rule because all the three time frames should have the same signals. So for now, we have to wait for CAD CHF on H4 to go a buy. This should be buy soon. Once this is a buy, we could enter a trade. So the next one is a CAD Jpy. Let's check CAD Jpy. I didn't plot it here. So CAD Jpy is here. As you can see, it's a buy. So let's go to H1 time frame. Let me plot it. The buy signal is from the buy signal came from in Wednesday. So we would plot the Fibonacci level again. It's gonna be like this. As you can see, this is the buy signal here at H1 last Wednesday. So if you would plot our Fibonacci, it's gonna be like this. From the resistance, then this is the support. And as you can see, the buy signal actually is here around this point at 82.392. This is the closing candle for the buy signal. But since it's above 50 and 61.8, we should have a buy limit here at 50%. So if you guys enter at 38.2 Fibonacci, obviously we won't be able to enter the trend. But if you guys enter at the 50 Fibonacci, you would at least make around, because the TP was hit last Friday, around 37 pips. So yeah, so this is a 37 pips profit if you enter the 50 Fibonacci. Even though, as you can see, sometimes you really have to wait just a bit. So it's like a 5.3 pips. So it's if you wait for a buy limit, it's an additional 5.3 pips. And as you can see, it's not that big because it's just 5.3 pips. But if you have more trades like 5 pips on each pair, it's gonna be a lot. So yeah, sometimes you really have to wait at least for the 50 Fibonacci, not just enter a trade. Even the MACD CSM would give you the good trade. Sometimes we have to wait for a buy limit. So the next one is CHF Jpy. Let me check CHF Jpy. So the overall signal for CHF Jpy on H4 is a buy. On D1, it was a buy too. On H1, we would plot the H1 time frame. So this is gonna be the Fibonacci. One moment. This would be the Fibonacci level if you would check it from February 8 and February 9. So the 50 Fibonacci is around this point. So instead of entering a trade above 61.8 Fibonacci, instead of 117.202, you would enter the trade at 117.136, which is around 7 pips difference. And as you can see, the 50 Fibonacci was hit around this time, so we would have at least a profit at 100 Fibonacci, which is 20 pips for CHF Jpy. The next one is Eur Aud. Do you guys follow me? I hope you guys understand what I'm discussing. Anyway, you can just watch it on YouTube or anything.
Yeah, Emir, I have a question. Can we go back to the CHF Jpy, please?
Oh yeah, sure. This one?
So for this one, basically what you are saying is we wait for the retracement. After that, we're going to have the up signal, and we wait for the retracement of the price after the last 1 hour up signal is given. And we enter at a better price.
Yes,
this is what the Fibonacci tool helps us to do, right?
Yes, that's right. First, if first we would look, if we would check if there are the 3 time frames have the 3 time frames have the same buy signal. As you can see, it's buy on H4 and D1. I'll try to discuss this more detail for you. Okay, So let's go for D1. As you can see, the D1 was buy since December 1, right? So you are only looking for a buy for CHF Jpy. Then on H4, it was buy last week. This was last week. You follow me?
Yeah.
Then on H1, this was what was this? February 9. This was Tuesday. On Tuesday, it gave you a buy signal here, because before Tuesday, during around this time, around Monday, it's still a sell, right? Can you see it? It's still a sell here. So on Tuesday, like 4 hours before the market would close, the CHF Jpy gave us a buy signal. So instead of entering at 117.202, you could have a buy limit, which is at 50 Fibonacci, which is 1.88. So it's just like 0.4 pips. Or you could wait until 117. Oh no, that's 61.8. My bad. You won't enter a trade there. So you would wait at 50 Fibonacci, which is 117.134. That's a 7 pips difference, or almost 8 pips difference, right?
Yeah, I got it now.
Yeah. Perfect. So once you would have a buy limit here, you should have a buy limit here at 117.13. So once you have a buy limit here, in like 1 hour, 2, 3, on the third hour, your buy limit would be hit, and you would have a buy signal. You would have a buy trade here, and your TP would be at the 100 Fibonacci, which is a 21.5 pips. Usually, I don't really wait for like 161.8. Even some users are using it, or some traders are using this Fibonacci as their TP. But usually, I will exit at the 100 Fibonacci. Hey, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, spot on. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So next one is did I discuss the Eur Aud already or not yet? Anyway, let's continue. So for Eur Aud, let's discuss it in detail again. The Eur Aud was sell since November, around November 10 or November 3. Then on H4, it was sell since last week. So for this week, we would look for a sell signal on Eur Aud. And the level since Monday is here is the resistance, and here is the support. So the sell signal came out at Thursday. This was Thursday. So as you can see, the candle closed here. And if you would check our Fibonacci level, it's between 38.2 and 23.6. But since this is a sell, it should be above 50, right? So we would wait for it to have a retracement at 50, which is 1.56676, or at 61.8. So if you have a retracement for this one, it's a 18.5 pips difference. This would be your sell limit. So for 50 Fibonacci, your TP would be, you would get at least 49 pips, or around 50 pips. If you waited for 61.8 pips, 61.8 Fibonacci, it's 60 pips, around 61 pips TP for Eur Aud. So let's go for the next signal, the Eur CAD. As you can see, Eur CAD from D1 is a sell. This was sell. On H4, it was a buy this week. So unfortunately, there is no trade for Eur CAD this week. And this on Eur CHF on D1, it was a sell since last month, January. Then on H4, it became sell like this is Tuesday, I guess. So we would check our sell signal here. Actually, the sell signal that you would only see is around this point. So, but if you would plot our Fibonacci, this is quite big. This is around here, maybe. Yeah, around this point. So either you would enter your trade here at 50 here, at 1.80, or you're at 38.2, which is 1.8059. Yeah, right. That's right. So as you can see, this one is negative on EURCHF because as I always say to users, there's no such thing as an indicator that has 100% accuracy. So as of now, if you enter at 50 Fibonacci, you are negative. Oh, it's just few. It's just negative 5 pips. Because actually EURCHF doesn't move that much this week. As you can see, the range of EURCHF for the last few days is really small. It just moves 60 pips. But usually this during on Wednesday it only moved 33 pips at a range of 33 pips. So it's not so big. So the next one is Eur Gbp. So let's go to D1 again. D1 was sell since last month. H4 it only became sell like 8 hours or 12 hours before the market closed. So but the whole week, as you can see, yeah, it's mostly sell. It's mostly sell. So on H1, yeah, this was already buy here. So there is no really proper signal for Eur Gbp. Then let's go for Eur Jpy. So again, for D1 time frame, let me remove this one. For D1 time frame, it was buy since last month, the end of the month. For H4, it was buy this week, last week, I mean. So for H1, we would check for buy signals on H1. So let's plot the signal came around this was Wednesday. So we would plot our retracement, the support again, and the resistance, which is this one. So let's check it again. So this is the 50 Fibonacci, and the buy signal is here after the candle close. We should enter the trade. The buy signal is only confirmed again to everyone once the candle is closed. So you won't enter while on this candle. You have to wait for this candle to close on H1. That's why the valid entry here is the opening price of the next candle, which is 126.744. And actually, if you can see, this is a good trade because it is below 50 Fibonacci. And for a buy, you could make at least around 37 pips, and your TP would be hit the next day. So it's 37 pips for EUR JPY. On EUR NZD, let's check EUR NZD. EUR NZD actually is a sell since October, and it's a really long sell. Even though H4 is buy, we can enter a trade because the D1 time frame is a sell, and H1 same as H1 because the 3 time frames again should have the same signal. For EUR USD, let's check it. EUR USD was sell since last month. On H4, it was just buy this week. It was only sell for this around Monday, but so far there is no trade after that because Monday, this was Monday, it was still a buy on H1. So there is no trade for EUR USD on MACD CSM this week. For GBP AUD, let's go for D1 again. D1 was buy since last week. I mean since last month. On H4, it keeps on changing like a sell, a buy, and a sell. But if you would check the H1, there is no really a good or proper trade for GBP AUD because as you can see, it's a sell, it's a buy, sell, and a buy. So we would skip GBP AUD. We would go to GBP CAD. So GBP CAD has a buy on 3 time frames. On H1, on H4, and on D1. To make it more detailed, as you can see, this is buy already. Then on H4, it was buy since last week. On H1, we will check it for this whole week. And if we would plot our Fibonacci level, so this was around this up to here. This is the support and this is the resistance. The buy signal came out at this point. One moment. The buy signal came around Tuesday, and as we can see, this is the closing price for the buy signal, which is 1.75376, but it's above 50 Fibonacci, so we would have a buy limit at 50 Fibonacci or at 61.8 Fibonacci. Oh, who's that? Okay. One moment, I have to mute. So let's go to the next one. So if we would enter the buy signal is a 1.75376, but we should wait for the buy limit at 1.75348 or 1.75213. If you enter the buy limit, the 50 Fibonacci, you would have a take profit of 57.9 the next day, or around 71.9 pips. 71.9 pips of take profit. One moment, everyone. I just have to close the door. So this is around 71.9 pips take profit at 61.8 Fibonacci. I hope you guys still manage to follow me. So for Gbp CHF, let's check Gbp CHF. Let me clean my chart first. So on D1, the buy signal was since last month. Then let's go to H4. Then on H4, it was buy actually around this time, and it became sell for this point only, but we won't enter the sell or anything because the only signal we are looking here is a buy, and this we can see this was buy around this point. So let me plot a rectangle here so we would know when was this buy signal. So on H1 there are some buy signals that came in actually, if we would see. So you could have entered the buy signal around this point, so we would plot our Fibonacci, which would be 1 moment. This would be our Fibonacci actually. So if you would enter the 50, now this is the signal, this one around 1.2324, or you could have a buy limit again at 38.2 if you don't want to enter. So if you enter a buy here, it went down a little bit, like you would get a negative 50 pips after a few days, but at the same day, if you hold your trade until today, you are positive 21.2 pips. So on Gbp CHF, because there are times that you would get a little bit negative, as I always say, there is no such thing as 100% indicator, and that's why if you hold your trade up to here, you would be positive today, which is around 20 pips. 20 pips floating trade for Gbp CHF. We still don't have to close it because our TP will be around the 100 Fibonacci, which is 1.23718. Our target profit here is around 40 pips to 40 to 45 pips.
Emir,
yes.
What would you advise in this situation? So we have the first buy signal, where the first blue arrow is our main signal. After that, we have a red signal, a blue signal, red signal, and blue signal.
Are you talking about how we exit the trade?
Not necessarily. If let's say the main trend is still up, should we consider the next signals as buy signals as well, or
yes. You have to first of all you have to check the D1 time frame. So for D1 time frame, it was a buy signal, right? This is the buy signal for Gbp CHF. This means that the only trades that you would check are buy. You won't take a sell on Gbp CHF because the general trend for Gbp CHF is buy. So D1 is buy. So on H4, you would also check if D1 is if H4 is buy. But as you can see, actually GBP CHF is a bit complicated this week to backtest, but I'll try my best to discuss it. So let me discuss it again in detail. Because as you can see, GBP CHF was buy last January 11, right? So for 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the 5th week, it was buy, right? So I will put a rectangle here. It was buy until this point. But like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 20 hours, it was a sell, right? So for this point, as you can see, you can still enter a buy here. I'll try to discuss more about this. So I will discuss about the exit of this strategy too. So since this is a buy, this time around Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it was still a buy. On H1, you would check for a buy. You want you will disregard all the sell signals here on H1 time frame. You would only check for buys on H1 time frame. So there was a buy here and there was a buy here. So you would enter around, of course, you would check the first signal, which came at February 10, not the February 11. So at February 10, I'll remove this rectangle again. You would plot your Fibonacci. So it's gonna be around here, right? So if you would enter the trade around here, because this is the closing candle for the buy signal on H1, this one, around 1.23323, you can either enter the trade already since it's below 50, or you could have a buy limit at 38.2. So you would wait for it, and you will have your TP around this point, right? You will have your TP here. So you enter the trade February 10, which is Wednesday. Then on Thursday, it became negative. Early Friday, you are negative 50 pips. But after that, you are positive 26.2 if you still hold your trade. But actually, there's a strategy that we use too on H4 because we don't actually exit on H1. We only exit if H4 time frame is a sell. So this is actually a closing for us. So since H4 is a sell here, one of the strategy that we use is you should exit at the opposite signal of H4. So our stop loss here would be 1.22871. So if you would analyze it or you would check it properly, you would enter a buy here, 1.2322. But since H4 time frame reversed, gave us a sell signal, you would already exit at 45 pips. So for GBP CHF, actually, we are negative 45 pips. Just for GBP CHF. Because it gave us a sell signal on H4 time frame. Yeah. Did I answer your question properly?
Yeah, yeah. But now this one gives me the opportunity to address another question. After
Yes,
that,
sir.
we have another buy signal,
Oh
and
yeah. Then
this.
after the buy signal again, let's go for H4 again, right? This one, around this point. So we would plot our Fibonacci again. So this is won't be our Fibonacci anymore. That's a good question you've got. So we would plot our Fibonacci again. So this would be a different support and resistance already. So it's gonna be here, right? So we would enter on Friday. So as you can see, it's around this point, the buy signal that it gave us, which is uh, the closing of the buy signal on H1. But since it is above 50, you need to at least have a buy limit at 50 Fibonacci. And as you can see, it was hit, right? So instead of entering at 1.23145, you would enter at 1.23107. That's around 4 pips difference. And once your buy was hit here, you are positive 42 pips today. You just need to hold your trade. So it's like most likely your break even. But since our oh no, your TP would be still here. Would be here actually at 100 Fibonacci. So you would at least make 32 pips today. So you are negative 45, but you are positive 32 pips today. So we are still a bit like negative 10 pips short on GBP CHF. Do you got it now?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, because the signal changed, right? So let's go to GBP Jpy now. I have, oh no, I already plotted it. So GBP Jpy, the general trend for D1 is buy since November. As you can see, this one is a really big buy for GBP pair, 500 pips for the past D1 time frame. On H4, it was a buy since last week. Then on H1, as usual, we would check for a buy signal on H1. So let's check it out here. I guess this one is not accurate. So the 50 Fibonacci again is around this one, right? Because the buy signal came out early of February 10. So let's have a plot it here. So as you can see, this is the buy signal, which is below 50 Fibonacci. This is below 50 Fibonacci, just a bit, but all very near to 50 Fibonacci. So we could already enter this 50 Fibonacci, but if you don't want to, you can wait for 38.2, which is also the price was hit, which means your buy limit would also be hit at 38.2. And our take profit, as usual, is the 100 Fibonacci, which is around 57.4 pips. If you enter 30 at 38.2, you are this is 56, and the other one is around 46 pips. So we are positive too on GBP Jpy. On GBP NZD, let's check it again. On GBP NZD, it was a buy since last month. On H4, it was buy since last week. And we would check for GBP CHF buy signals this week. So as you can see, there was a buy signal around Wednesday. This was Wednesday, right? So we would plot our Fibonacci level. It's gonna be around here. Let me put it closer here. What's that? There is a necessary noise that I can hear. One moment. One moment, everyone. Who's the one who have a necessary noise with the background? I have to. Can you guys mute yourself for a while not having any questions? Because I can't mute everyone on the Zoom meeting. So anyway, let's discuss the GBP NZD. There is a buy here and a sell here. There's the Fibonacci is around this part, and the Fibonacci level is around this. And of course, we would have enter a buy here at this point at 1.90613. As you can see, this is really a good trade, the GBP NZD pair, because it was even below 38.2 Fibonacci that we always take. And if you enter the trade, you would have your TP at 100 Fibonacci, which is around 115 pips. Yeah, that's around it. The GBP NZD would give us a 115 pips for this week. This was Wednesday, and your TP was on Friday. Then it gave us another buy signal here again. So if you would plot our Fibonacci at this point, it's gonna be like this. Oh no. Let me remove the other Fibonacci. This one. Okay. So this is the resistance and this is the support. And our 50 level is around here. Okay. But since it is above 50, we won't be able to enter this trade anymore because the buy signal actually is above 61.8. So this is a missed trend. We can't always take the trends. There are really some pairs that we can't enter because of the given situation that we have. I don't actually take this much trades anymore. I will just leave it. Given that if you guys are here since our first webinar at AUD most pairs are positive, but the one of the pairs that we would miss to enter is GBP NZD this week because it is above 50 Fibonacci and it didn't bounce back or it didn't retrace at 38.2 or 50 Fibonacci. So the next one, uh, GBP USD. Let's check D1. D1 time frame is buy. So we can see here it was buy since October 9. It was buy also on H4 time frame since last week. So for this week, what we would only check are the buy signals. It was buy actually on Monday. This was Monday. So let's plot. If we would plot our Fibonacci, one moment, it's gonna be like this because it's very small here. So it's above 50 actually. So we can't enter this trade too, the GBP USD pair. And last Friday there was a buy signal again, but if you would plot our Fibonacci, it's gonna be like this. It's gonna be here. So as we can see, the buy signal came out here around around this point, but it didn't retrace up to here, up to 50 Fibonacci, so we can't take the trade right now. But if it bounced back or it would come down, it would hit our 1.38180, we can have our buy limit here and maybe wait for it to retrace or what. But if not, it's a missed trade again. We can't enter this trade anymore because as you can see, it already hit the 100 Fibonacci and it's just around 11 pips if you enter a trade here. It's just around 11 pips and I won't take that kind of trade, just 10 pips take profit. I don't like taking that kind of risk for small amounts of gain if you have a bad risk and reward ratio. So for NZD CAD, the D1 time frame was actually buy since last month, so there is no trade for this week because as you can see, there was a sell. It became buy for a short moment of time, and it was a sell again. So no trades for NZD CAD. For NZD CHF, let's check it. It was buy since the end of October. For H4, it was a sell only. This is around Wednesday, I guess. Around this point, this was a sell. So let's check for H1 if there are some buys. So there is no buys to here because the buy signal was already last week. So there is no trade for NZD CHF2. On NZD JPY, it's the same. As you can see, it's a buy here, a sell here, and a buy. So for H4, we still need to wait for this to give us a buy signal. Once NZD JPY gave us a buy signal, we can check this again and look for positive for some trades this coming week. On NZD USD, it's the same. The H4 and D1 doesn't have the same signal, so no trade for NZD USD. On USD CAD, one moment. On USD CAD, it was a sell. Like this was only 3 days ago. This was on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So this is the sell for H4. Then for H1, as we can see, this is gonna be the sell signal for H1 on USD CAD. One moment, I have to remove this one now because USD CAD, as you can see, it just gave us a sell signal here. But if we would retrace it, this is a good to all the viewers. You can take this trade this week, but we have to wait for it to move a bit. So for now, if you would analyze it, as you can see, it's a sell signal on USD CAD. But unfortunately, as you can see, because this is a sell, we should take trades at 50 or 61.8. It's the opposite of the buy. So our sell limit, this is gonna be a sell limit. We could make a sell limit here at 1.27116 or a sell signal around 1.27239. We can take any of this sell limit, and once it's hit, you can take profit at least 50 pips for this week, because USD CAD is a sell now. But I won't take this trade yet. I won't even take this trade here because it's below 50, and even it would give you a 40 pips take profit. I just rather miss it than not have a proper risk reward ratio for myself. So I'll just miss this trade. But if you guys want to take USD CAD this coming week, you can enter your trade at 1.27115, which is the 50 Fibonacci. Then have your take profit at 1.26601, which is around 50 pips take profit. So that's a free signal for everyone, the USD CAD. Then let me check if there are some people who are still asking. So let's go for USD CHF now. The D1 time frame is a buy for this week. For H4, it was a sell. So there is no proper signal for USD CHF because it has two opposing signals, two different signals for H4 and D1 time frame. Then let's go for USD Jpy. One moment. It's USD. Yeah. So let's go for USD Jpy. USD Jpy actually is a buy on D1 since last month. On H4, it only became. It will be this one is a good example too. As you can see, this is a sell, right? But the last arrow here is a buy. This means once the market opened on Monday, this would be a buy signal already. So this is a signal that's coming from H4. So let's take a look at it. If we could enter a buy on USD Jpy. So as usual, we would make a retracement. So if the signal would hit at here at 104.795, you can have your buy limit here, or you could have your buy limit here. Once at 104.795 or 104.704, once of these two is hit, your TP would be here at 100 Fibonacci, which is 105.18. So it's around 38.5 pips. We can't enter this trade yet. We still need to wait for the H4 time frame to change on Monday. But as of now, this is clear already that the market will be buy on H4 and USD JPY this Monday. So let's just have a buy limit here on these two prices, whichever you guys want to take. Sometimes I take 50, sometimes I take 38.2. But yeah, for now we have to wait for a retracement. That's just around 10 pips difference or more, or around 20 pips difference. So that's it for our 28 pairs for this week. And as usual, I would also discuss the currency movement, the GBP and JPY for the D1 time frame are the strongest. GBP is the strongest. JPY is still the weakest this week. CAD is a bit neutral. Is neutral on D1 time frame. The strongest pairs right now are GBP, AUD, NZD. I guess I've discussed this like 2 weeks ago. They are still the strongest, and JPY is still weak. And EUR now is getting weak too. I know I discussed this around second or third webinar that EUR is not clear that time, but as you can see on D1 time frame, it's really weak now. On H4, which we usually use and usually the trend goes, is AUD is really strong and GBP is still strong. NZD is very weak and JPY is still weak on and USD is still weak. So for this one on H1, Usually this would change every day, but for H4 this would only change once, like every week. It would change every week. So for EUR, it's a bit neutral, and CAD the same as D1. It's still a bit neutral. But if you would check let's check the general trend for CAD. Yeah, it's really negative. As you can see, it's always below the zero line, the CAD line. It was only strong around this point, around November. But since November, around the second week of November, it became so weak already. And the graph of USD is going strong, actually. So I hope I've discussed everything. And do you guys have any question? Who's here at our webinar? You can just chat before I close the Zoom meeting. Do you guys have any more questions?
No, thank you so much, Emil.
Oh, that's good to hear. If you guys don't have any question, I'll end this webinar now, and I'll send the link on our Telegram group. I'll upload this one on YouTube too. If not, I'll just send the link to my Facebook page. This is a recorded webinar anyway. Hope to see you guys next week again, and sorry for the late webinar for today. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.